Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my lovely ladies. Welcome back to the channel. I said that I was going to come back, and I am here today. So we're just going to get into part 2 of this video. Yesterday, I was on the go when I started the video, and I didn't get to say everything that I wanted to say, but I wrote some things down today. So we'll get through this. And also, as always, you can ask questions in the chat while I'm live. So I can wait for some people to come in, just if anybody's going to come in. This is a little intimate group, so we don't get like that many views or that many people. But what I enjoy about that is that I actually get to talk to you guys one-on-one, and we get to like actually form relationships. And when we do our goddess check-ins together, I feel like I'm speaking with one of my girlfriends. So it's really, really fun, even if it's just a couple of us in here, which I really like. So I just need a little sip of water and we'll get started. So yesterday we talked about the things that will make you more accessible to wealthy men, or what you should be watching out for wealthy men. And in today's part, I want to talk on the lines of that, but also I want to kind of break down some of the myths about wealthy men, so you don't go into your dates or relationships with these things on your mind, because everything is mindset. So if your mindset is messed up and you just feel a certain type of way, you feel inferior, you're going to mess up, your whole experience. So I want to like attack these myths so you can have all of the tools necessary to be successful in your dating and relationships. So the first thing I want to discuss is wealthy, and this is going to be a myth. The first myth that I want to discuss is wealthy men thinking that they are the prize. Now, this idea, oh, hold on. Oh, gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the man thinking he's the prize and you treating him like the prize. Now, this is something that is very social media based. Like, people that have platforms online, they go on talking about how they're the prize, and men are the true prizes, women are fill in the blanks. And I want to let you know, just because a man has money does not make him the prize. That is not the idea of what that even means and what that even is. The whole thing about women being the prize is because women are the creators. We are the one who bring in life. We are the one that is basically the foundation. We hold the Eve gene. We create life. And that is such a big thing. And for a man to be able, especially back in the day, for a man to be able to get a woman, impregnate her, continue his legacy, that was a huge thing for them. So that is why it was always looked at, especially back then, that women were the prize. Women were something men had to, be successful to achieve, to get, because they, weren't promised a woman at all, right? You can see back in ancient times how there were like harems of women around the king, right? Because he was so powerful that he can, get a lot more women, and women would want to be impregnated by him. That is not the case, or that what we see was not the case where, a guy who had essentially nothing would get a woman. Usually he had to be worth something to be able to get women. So that is why women have always been looked at as a prize, because that is the opportunity for him to actually build a legacy, have, procreation, for those things to happen. You can't have that without a woman. So the idea of the prize is actually like, oh, not just because, someone pays the bills or anything like that. It's because your purpose is a creative one, right? It's like God level. So that is why women have always been looked at as the prize. Now, if you think just because you have money, you are then some type of prize to somebody, that is where you're mistaken. And the funny thing of it is, like I said previously, men on social media may say, oh, well, I'm a prize, but that is not the truth in wealthier circles. Men who are more wealthy, they have more intelligence, they've researched, they understand life and legacy, they understand finding a great woman to build a life with, to have a legacy with, is very important and very much so a prize. So you need to know that going into the relationship, regardless if you are going to have children or not, that you look at it like your position is not that he's the prize and you're nothing, because that is what will mess you up every single time. You need to know you yourself are the prize and he is someone who is trying to, get the prize, right? So remember your position. Money does not change the position. And the more you treat him like you're so excited and so grateful for him to be with you because he has money, that is what's going to lower your value in his eyes. And he's going to look at you, like I said before, like, oh, okay, this is just any old girl, right? She's obsessed with me. We all know, like, I'm sure some of you who have dated men and been, obsessed with them, at least with your first real relationship, we had that puppy love and we were so obsessed with our boyfriends, our first relationship. That kind of energy, if you give that to, and you're grown and you give that to a grown successful man, he's going to look at you as a bit of, somebody to walk all over, someone to be a doormat to. Like, he can get away with murder with you because you're so excited to be here and you're willing to go against your own standards and values just to be with him because you think you got a prize. So do not do that. Understand, most men who are successful understand your position and they know who you are. So you don't have to, bow down to them and act like they are the greatest thing. You hold them to the standard that we spoke about yesterday, and you make sure that you're respected, because that is very, very important. And you also need to show respect as well, because another thing I wanted to move into about dating wealthier men, but this can go to any men, is that there is a level of respect that you need to have for the person that you're dating. And I'm not saying this is anyone specifically, but I know there are women I've seen that, kind of take the rougher approach when it comes with men, and they are very aggressive, and they just come off very masculine. And there's nothing wrong with being masculine as a woman, and men can be feminine. Like, we have that inside of us. But you need to remember, like, wealthier men are looking for, a more feminine, gentle, peace kind of woman. So you want to make sure that you are actually being his peace, that you are actually not being like a full-on headache. Now, if you are annoying and just hard to be around, he's not going to be around you. He doesn't need to be around you, and you need to respect him and his time. This means being on time. And this is very, very hard for some people. I've dealt with so many clients that, will tell me, oh my gosh, like, he left the restaurant because I was like 20 minutes late. And it's like, well, he is a successful guy. He doesn't know you that well. And he's really, feeling a little embarrassed if he's been sitting there waiting for you for 20 minutes. That is a long time to be sitting by yourself in a restaurant. But if people feel like, oh, well, you should just wait for me, and you think that people are going to be like that, you have to respect people's time. So be punctual. Like, if you have a date with someone, stick to that time. Make sure you get to the date or be on time. Now, I know you can be 10, 15 minutes late. Sure. But you're supposed to let people know that way ahead of time. You don't, like the person I was speaking about, she was about 20 minutes late, and 8 minutes of that 20 minutes. So probably like after the 20 minutes, 8 minutes into it, she was like, oh, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And then he texts her, like, I already left. Like, I thought you weren't showing up. And that's the thing. You can be late, but like, let the person know that you're running behind. You have to respect these guys' time. You have to make sure that hey, I have a date. Let me make sure that I'm there so this guy can actually like be happy to see you and not be annoyed and mad and all of that stuff. So Leah said, Hi, girl. How are you? Thank you for being here. So, yeah, so that's very important about the respect because I just wanted to throw that in here because that is a big thing about punctuality. And like I said, successful people are very punctual people. They respect their time because their time is literally money. They're working. If we're talking about wealth and money, to accumulate wealth, you need to be on it. You need to like have good time and be punctual and respect others. So that is a big thing when you're dating. But that, like I said, is not just wealthy people. That is just across the board. You need to respect people's time. Also, the next thing I wanted to talk about that was a myth. And this is something that I think is more, I mean, it could just be in other cultures, but especially in the African American culture, this idea that all white men are wealthy. I feel like this is a myth that needs to be like thrown away and stop thinking this because there are so many times where you have the instance and you're seeing like, oh, like I'm done dating this race because I'm gonna go get a white man because he's gonna have some money and he's gonna give me some money. That is not the case. Like you can't look at wealth through a color lens because you will be rudely and terribly mistaken to think that all white people have money. That is not the case. If we are going to actually look at the statistics and what each race is economically, the Indian man would actually be the one that has the money. And you could equate that, oh my God, let me go get an Indian man because he has money. Because in the US, in the United States, that is what it says, right? White people are not the richest in the United States. It would be more Asian, specifically Indian. So that whole idea, like, oh, I need to date a white man because he's gonna have some money, he's not gonna be dusty, he's gonna do that. Like that's something that you need to let go of and not look at things with just a race. And I understand the whole thing. Like, okay, you want to stop dating, say, Black men because, they don't have that much money. I mean, economically, they're at the bottom, and Mexicans and Native Americans, I believe, are at the bottom. But again, those people still have the ability to make money. Those people still are there. So you can't just exit out someone of being wealthy just because of their skin color. You would be actually doing yourself a disservice because all races of people, all groups of people have money in them. So you can't just look at it and be like, okay, this skin color is who I'm going to date because they have money. Okay. So please don't do that. Please don't run into that and thinking that all white people have money because they don't. There are a lot of white people who are destitute, who are poor, and who are very much so struggling. And they will capitalize off of you thinking that they have money and get you to compromise yourself and your morals just because you think someone is wealthy and you should try to go after them. So don't do that. And just don't be like that. Don't be racist. you know like I know it's so weird to say it, but like don't be racist. Like don't look at someone and say you're automatically like this because you're this certain race. You're gonna mess yourself up. So don't do that when you're dating because honestly, I mean, I've dated before I got married. I'm happily married woman, of course, but before that, I've dated a lot of Indian men, and it wasn't because they are the wealthiest in the U.S. It's just so happened to be the situation. But I've dated pretty much like across the board, like at all races. I feel like just because you should be dating. You should be dating if you are single and you do want a relationship. So you should, be dating all races and putting yourself out there equally because all races have money and it's just not to a skin color. Okay. Another thing, what is next? Okay. again, this kind of ties into this. There's a myth that all wealthy people are prestigious and affluent and just like this high value, great values type of person. That is a lie. So just because a person has money doesn't mean that they have, class, affluence, classiness or anything like that, right? That doesn't hold the cake, right? Because there are so many ways to make money. A lot of people can make money, doing questionable things online. People can make money, with drugs, with violence, with, there are so many ways of making money. And so just because you look at a person and you say, oh, they have, money, then I need to be with them, that is what's going to mess you up. I was asked before by someone, would I date like a scammer or somebody who was like a scammer? But had money, obviously, and they were generous with their money. Would I date this person? And the answer is no. I would never suggest anybody be dating a scammer, someone who, whether it's credit card fraud or however else, stealing, just not legal money. I don't think you need to be dating that kind of person, because the advice that I give you is so you can actually get the lifestyle that you want and not be in a situation where, you're in legal trouble. And the people who are scamming, the men who are doing illegal activity, they are going to get in jail. Like, they're going to jail. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually they will be going to jail. And you don't want to associate yourself with that. A lot of you women are very classy women. A lot of you want a beautiful lifestyle. So I suggest that you stick to men who are Googleable and men who like have done something in their life. So I think people don't think of this a lot, but like, especially if you are planning to have children, you want to see a person's accomplishments. You want to make sure that you match up with and you get with the guy who has, I know this sounds like eugenics, but you want to get with the guy who has good DNA. You want to see, like, okay, this guy, he's accomplished, he's done this, he's really intelligent, he's done well in school, he does well in the business or career that he's in. Like, you want to see evidence of this. So then when you procreate, you can at least have a good idea what kind of genes your kid is going to have and what they're going to, be able to achieve down the road, or what they're capable of achieving because of their, father. So that is very, very important. Like, a lot of women do this, especially with height. They want to get a taller man if they are themselves shorter, because they want to make sure their child has some height. Well, I'm not telling you to do it in that type of way where it's just a physical appearance thing. I'm telling you, you want it to be a mental thing. You want to make sure the guy that you're with has accomplished things and, has been through like some hard, like, times of grinding and like building something up and then accomplishing it, so you can actually, see that you can procreate with this person and have a pretty good idea how your children are going to end up. So if you just get with a guy who is a scammer, drug dealer, something illegal, you're not getting a quality person. You're getting a person who is basically a crime, right? This person who is headed to jail, eventually prison eventually. So you want to be mindful of that, and the easiest way is making sure the guy is Googleable. That is what I always say. Can you Google him? Can you see the company that he works for? Do you see his face up there? Does he have a LinkedIn that has the company? Like, you want to make sure that this person is legit and they are somewhat accomplished and done something in their life. So that is very important. Again, not all men are like this. Not all men with money are like this, but you want to make sure that you can see some evidence of it. Okay. The next thing, and you guys can ask any questions that you want as I go through this. If you have any questions, you can always ask. All right. Another big myth about dating wealthy men that you need to avoid is this idea. I think this is just also just like the society that we live in right now, of thinking that, women need to do like 50-50, like in this economy. Like, I hate when people say this, when the excuse of in this economy, it's so expensive to live. But in reality, like, you anybody can make it in any situation. Like, there has been so many times when I, had no options and I made something happen and made money doing whatever job or career that I was in doing, and I had nothing to begin with and I made something out of myself. So the idea that in this economy you need the woman to work as well is just a cop out, and you should never accept that. You want a man who can take care of minimum 3 people. And the reason why I say 3 people is because you want a lifestyle, right? So you want to make sure the man can take care of himself, he can take care of you, and he can take care of whatever extra thing it, whether it be a baby, whether it be vacations, whether it be a home, whatever it is, you want to make sure that he can afford that as well. Because if you're dealing with a man who can only take care of himself and he needs you to come in so you can take care of you, then I mean, you don't really need my advice at all, because then you're not dating a wealthy man or a provider type of man. So, you need, I don't know why you're coming to me. Most men who are wealthy are going to be able to take care of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. That is the kind of guy that you need to be looking at and paying attention to. So the idea that you need to have any type of money, don't even think of that. It's not about your money. Like, you should never go into a situation saying, oh my god, like I don't have money like him, or I don't have this kind of job, or I don't do this. That is not your job. That is not what you're here for. You're not here for your money. You're here because you're a woman and he wants to be with a woman. That is the whole point of things. A lot of women think like they need to bring something to the table. They need to add money or something to the table to get men. That is not the case. All you need to do is show up being a beautiful, nurturing, loving woman, and that's basically enough. Because he needs to be, but he will be, if he's wealthy, be able to take care of the financial and the world that we live in, the society that we live in economically. That is what he's there to do. That is what he's able to do. So you don't have to have this idea. And it's basically like an inferior idea. Some women like ask me like, oh my god, like what if like he wants me to pay for the bill or something and go like 50-50, what is it, Dutch on a dinner bill or something. And I'm just like, why are you even thinking about that? Like, you shouldn't even be thinking about that, because you're not even dating someone who would think about that. That idea that you have to put in anything monetarily into the relationship is so new, but it's because broke men have been now assess getting accessibility to women, and so they don't have the money to pay, but because so many women have been willing and open to dating them, they now feel like, well, it should be 50-50 because I can't pay for this. But since you're willing to date me, and that is their right, right? You're willing to date them. So this is what it takes to date them. You got to pay your own. That is not the lifestyle that I wanted to live. So I don't live. And definitely it shouldn't be the lifestyle that you want to live, especially if you're on this channel, because that's not what we're about. There is no Dutch. There is no 50-50. We're not dating men who need our help. Like, I really don't understand the idea of like 50-50, especially if like you guys are going to say, okay, let's move in together, or you're moving into his place. It's like he was already paying the bills before you got there. You don't need to add on to anything. He was already going to have dinner before you got here. He invited you to dinner. You don't have to pay anything. That is like a scarcity mindset. And I understand if that is what has happened to you and you have always put the bill and paid for things, and men have just never really come out and giving you things. But that's something you have to work on, especially when you're dating wealthy men, because you need to speak about what you want. There has been so many like I will tell you a story that happened to me just like a couple years ago. I was on a date with this guy, and he was a cool guy. He was a great guy. He was a successful guy, of course. And I was just in the car with him, and we were like going somewhere, and he had on some shades, and I was like, oh, like I really like those shades. Those are really nice. They were like Gucci shades. And he was like, oh, really? You like them? And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, you can have them. And I was like, oh, like you don't have to give them to me. He's like, no, have them. Like you can have them. I was like, okay, fine, sounds good. So you're actually going to give me this just because I said they look nice? He's like, yeah, sure. Like, of course, you can have it. I was like, okay. we went to the restaurant, we like had a meal and stuff like that, and it was like around different stores and stuff. And then he was like, okay, like let's walk around, like you want to like check out some of the shops and stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So we go in the shops and stuff. He takes me on a shopping spree. Like again, I didn't have to say anything. It's just like I'm like, oh, I like this. He was like, oh yeah, that would look nice on you. I was like, okay, I like this. And then like the sales associate lady, she was just like, okay, every because she kind of saw what was going on. She's like, let me grab this for you. Let me get the fitting room ready for you. She was like, I'm gonna make some commission today because it was like a higher end store. And like, you know, me and her was having a ball. He was like trying on some jackets. He didn't end up getting anything, but he spent so much money on me. And I'm just like, okay, fine, this is great. I said nothing. I gave no indication that I wanted to go shopping or anything like that. It was just the energy that I had of saying, like, oh, I like this. And I really like this. And the guy is basically like, oh, you like this? Let me give this to you. So just remember that you can, when you're dating wealthier men, you can just suggest like, oh, I like this, and they will listen to it and they will give it to you. Like that's happened to me so many times. Like there's very minimal times that I've had to actually ask for anything. And most of the time it's just been like I've talked about something and then it shows up. So just remember that. Okay, Leah says, where do I find serious professional Black men? I'm an MBA. I've only dated doctors, engineer, business owners, and they want to be eternal bachelors. Okay, so that the problem is this is the thing, and I hate to break it to you, but if you go in thinking that you only want to date Black men, that is going to be your downfall. You are going to have to find a unicorn because you yourself are successful. And I deal speak with a lot of women who are similar to you, and they have their MBAs, JDs. They're really like successful Black women, and they want a Black man that is up to par as them, right? And the Black men that they find that are also like that, they want to be bachelors because they then have other women who are like you that want them too. But there is not many men that are Black that are like them. So there are many Black women who are like you. There are not many Black men who are like them. So they do have more options as to women who they can actually date and deal with. So they don't really want to settle down. They don't necessarily have to settle down yet. So a way to combat this is open up your options. Again, you are successful from your photo. I can see that you are beautiful. So if I were you, I would definitely open up my options to any successful man, not necessarily skin color, because regardless of how you feel about Black men, they have so many options. Once they become like basic level successful, they become like, oh my God, that is the guy that I want. And you're going to be competing with a lot more women, as in a difference when you open yourself up to all races of men. Then you're going to be dealing with men who like, oh, I really like you, and because you're who you are, right? So a lot of the time, like women who only want to date Black men, I unfortunately I have to tell you, like those men, if that is the case, if you still just want to date, you're going to have to go older. You're going to have to go older in age where they're at the point where they've already explored all of their options. And I don't know how old you are, but you want to go like 50s plus. Not, and I usually say like 40s plus for women, but like with Black women, you kind of have to be in the 50s, 55. You have to be like up there because that is when they usually start like being a little more interested in settling down with the woman. I wouldn't want to wait that long. Me, I want to get what I want right now. So I'm going to open up my options and date all races and have that kind of standard. And then you'll be surprised. Like once you do that, you probably will end up with the Black guy anyway, right? That will kind of make you seem more attractive to them. So a lot of Black men, I mean, I've dated Black men, but we all know I'm married to a man of European descent, a white guy. But a lot of the guys that I've dated who were Black, like they knew like they really dated a lot of white women, but it would be a situation where they're like, oh my God, like I'm really into you. Like I want to be with you. And I'm just kind of like, oh, now I'm like, not, maybe not, because it's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want to do right now? And it's kind of like, okay, if you're serious, because I got this person who's serious, and you can match them up better. You can like give them real competition, because essentially you're looking for a guy who, has no competition. If you're only looking for successful Black men, that is such a small pool of men who, one, isn't already married, two, is not going to want to be bachelor in his Prince Charming mode, because that's what I call them, like Prince Charmings. You're going to have a hard time with them. So I would open up the options. Don't be so, strict on skin color, because essentially that doesn't matter, and you need to know, like, hey, I'm holding you to the same standard as this person. I'm going to date this type of person, this type of person. They're all successful. And then you're going to notice if he really likes you or not, because then he knows, and your energy is going to be spread out. So you're not going to be so much like, oh my God, he's so great. He's Black. He's this, he's that. You're going to be able to like actually see who really likes you and then make your decision about that, because it's going to be really hard. I hope that helps. I mean, you can ask me more. That dress looks amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's, giving spring. I mean, summer. Girl, I forgot what it was. Get who likes you. Exactly. That is very, very important. Like, you need to date people who like you and who want to be serious with you. And when it's this situation, and that's good. You've only dated like doctors, engineers, business owners, and that's, yeah, they have too many options. So it's not worth your time to just date Black men. Like, it's just not a big enough pool, because a lot of Black men aren't doing the same things that Black women are doing in education and educating themselves in the corporate world. It's just not a reality. So you have to look at the numbers, and a lot of women don't want to face that fact, but like, I'm not telling you it's impossible. I'm not telling you that it can't happen. I'm telling you, just, get more options by opening up your options. And then you never know. One of those options might be Black men. I just never dated specific skin colors. So, because I always wanted options, always wanted, to see who likes me, who's going to be the nicest and greatest to me, who's going to give me the most things, who's going to make me feel how I want to feel. And some of them were Black men, some of them weren't, and the best one wasn't. And I went with the best choice, which I believe every woman should, because I mean, skin color doesn't mean anything. How to attract all men outside of looks. Okay, so the thing of it is, I kind of spoke about this in the last video. Your looks are very important, because that's the first thing that we see from you, right? You got to look good. You got to, like, present yourself well. But you also need to remember that when you are on the date, you also have to have a conversation. So what's going to actually attract the man, whether he's successful or not, it doesn't matter, is your personality and the things that are going on up here, the things that you think about, your heart, who you are as a person, your hobbies. Like, you can't just be a know nothing, boring type of woman. You have to be interesting and intriguing. You have to be someone that people will look at and think like, oh my gosh, this woman is brilliant. She's amazing. Like, I love being around her. Like, okay, so there's this thing. Okay, I got to put on the fan and it's right here. Okay, I didn't have to move too far, but it's getting hot over here. And I should just, okay. So the man has to be in the energy of like falling for you while you speak to him. So while you're on the date, talk about things that are passionate to you. So this is something that I do all the time still, because I go on dates with my husband, of course. So I like to talk about random things that I'm interested in. And I'm very much into spirituality. I'm into philosophy. What else am I into? I'm into kind of everything. I'm pretty broad, but I love reading. I love like actually like just taking in information. So I'll have like discussions with my husband about spirituality or discussions about, some philosopher, or I'll ask him about certain books that he's read, or I'll ask him or tell him about an article that I just read. These things make you seem more interesting and, like my husband likes to say, cosmopolitan. And that is what draws people in. When, you ever meet someone and you guys just have a deep conversation and it becomes like, oh my God, we're so connected. That is how you're going to actually attract the guy, is like that kind of connection, that kind of conversation. And it happens once like you go beyond, just normal chit chat. But that has to be your personality. That has to be who you are. So that's why I always suggest women, like, don't just be blank up here. Like, actually educate yourself, learn things, learn unique things, things that make you more feminine. So, like I said, spirituality, that makes you more feminine, but going beyond, just religion, just like talking more deeply, like in a philosophical way, bring up authors, bring up deeper things. And while you speak to the guy, like you're like speaking to each other's soul. Like imagine that you're having a conversation with the guy's soul, and that's going to draw him into you. That's going to make him feel closer to you and feel like, oh my God, this woman is amazing. That's how you get them. And again, this is something that I've kind of done unconsciously. It's just the way that I have conversations with people. Like it's funny because like we'll go to lunch or dinner and stuff like that with just friends like of my husband, and we'll go to dinner with them, and I'm having like a deep conversation with like his friend, and then he's like, dang, like you're amazing, like wow, like that's so deep. And I'm like, yeah, like we're like connecting. And I think we were just talking about like Wyoming or something, and we were just talking about like some like, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but that's how you speak to men, any kind of man, and he will be like, you're amazing. I need more of you. And that's how you kind of really get them to draw you in. Of course, you need to look good, girl. You need to, do the whole song and dance, have your hair done. The last couple of videos that I had, I was on live, my hair was in like a ponytail. I was like, okay, well, I was on the run the whole time. For the last couple of days, I was just like busy, busy, busy. Today, I just been chilling in the house. So I was like, okay, I can actually take time to look really, really cute. But let me tell you something. You need to look good. You need to do the hair, the makeup, the dress, the everything. That's going to grab them their attention as well. Queen of Shells, Isabel, you are so pretty. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very spiritual as well. I thought those topics would scare them. No. So the thing of it is, you don't want to be like, you want to keep it like on the baseline, but then you see how far they're willing to go. Like, okay, let me tell you something. Like, it's so funny because like my husband, he when we first met, he was like, like you got the witchy vibes. You got that witchy vibes. And it's not because I'm Haitian, right? It's just like he's just like, you got that witchy vibe because I'm like going in deeper. And that's like you kind of bait them a little bit. You see how far they're willing to go. And if they're like at one spot, like they have their religion and that's that, you can stay there, but go deep into that. And then that will bring them in a little more. You just see where people at. I've dated atheists as well, and they're not so religious, but I'll talk about something else like yoga. Like I love yoga. Yoga is like life to me. I practice it every morning. And I just talk about that. Like I talk about my experience with that and how it feels. The thing of it is like you're bringing them into like your world, but like they need to see like you're more deeper than just your looks. Like you have more going on than just your looks. And that makes you seem a little more mysterious as well. So it doesn't have to be like spirituality. Like I said, it can be philosophy. It can be books that you're reading. Like, oh my God, I'm reading this fascinating book and it's about XYZ. Like you can talk about those kind of things. Anything that's going to make you seem more interesting, because that's what people essentially, especially more successful people, that's what they're seeing in you. Like, oh, she's just not a pretty dumb girl, right? She's not a pretty dumb bunny. She's actually got something going on up there. So that is definitely a good thing. Just test it out. You don't want to go full on, okay, let me tell you everything about my third eye chakra opening up and da, da, da. No, not like that. You kind of go into it like, I'm trying to remember the conversation I literally just had with this guy. It was basically along the lines, I didn't go full on like spirituality, but I was just like, I go down to the beach, as some of you guys know, I go down to the beach almost every day, but like pretty much all the time I always walk down to the beach, and I like to sit and meditate by the water. That is like just like a ritual that I like to do. And I was just speaking to him about like, I just always start with gratefulness, and I start with the smallest things that I think are insignificant that I'm grateful for. And then I go into bigger things that I'm grateful for. And I just kind of put my energy out into the ocean, into the universe. And he felt like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like I was thinking that too. So like kind of saying something like that, where it's like you're not going full off the deep end, but you're actually saying something that is like a positive and like give someone like, wow, that's like amazing that you do that. That's going to grab the person, and that's going to make them feel like, wow, she's a deeper person. Like she's a loving person. Like I love her energies. That's basically what I mean. Hopefully that makes sense. The last guy I dated was Sri Lankan doctor. He was super sweet, but it didn't work out. Totally open. I'm 27, by the way. Yeah, I mean, girl, dealing with them African men. Woo! Good luck. No. Yeah, like that's good that you're open. Continue to be open. You're 27 years old. So if you do want to, this is like the perfect age for you, because I believe in the Saturn return. So when I was like 27, 28, 29, 30, I started to shift and really think about what I actually wanted out of life, out of relationships. And that's actually how I got married, is because that is when I decided like, okay, like I really want this. And then I just like started pivoting my attention to what I wanted, and then started, you know, choosing men according to that. So one, like you said, that's good that you're open yourself up, speak to more men. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not just a stereotype. I've seen it a lot with African men. They have a culture. I mean, it's the same thing with Haitian men. That's why I don't date them. But they do have a tendency to have, more women, because especially in the US, they have a lot of women because of, they are the more successful. Like Africans, foreign black men are very more successful, because that is just, if you're a foreigner, like you're brought up with this idea that, your parents sacrificed everything for you. So you need to become something, you need to be successful. And that is great, right? I love that about us. But that's the thing. Then they do that. And then and a lot of women, want that, because they're like, oh, I want a black man, and you're successful, and you're from the motherland. Yes, I want you. And it's like, yeah, you're not the only one. So the best thing to do with that is to open up your options and still talk to them. Like, obviously, I'm not telling you don't deal with them, of course, but you want to make sure you have a lot more options, so then that way you're choosing the person who really wants you. I believe that having a great scent can also attract, yes, yes. Yes, smelling very good. Oh my God. Have your scent together, have your look together. All of those things, like you're trying to get all the senses involved when it comes to a man, but you also want that sixth sense. So that connection, just like that mental connection, where you're like spiritually there with him, and you're, and when you speak to him, you look him in the eye. Like that's another thing. Like you look at him, and then you can look away. And then you're like, yeah, like we're here, we're here. And then, you look away. And then he's like in love. That, I mean, and the scent just adds to that. The scent, if he smells you and you smell amazing, he hugs you and he's like, dang, you smell. Oh, yeah. Hell no. Yes, Saturn in turn got my butt together too. Yeah. Girl, I was a completely different person. Like the person that I was in my 20s is not the same person. I was just telling my husband this, like nobody in my 20s that I knew can sit here and say that they know me today. Like I'm a completely different person. And it's just because like when I reached my 30s, I said I literally said this. I was like, "Thank you so much to my past self that was in my 20s, the 20s Isabel. Thank you so much. You are amazing. I'm so grateful for the work that you've done. I've got it now. Thank you for passing the baton, but now this is my race." And that's what I did. I was like, "I'm going to become the woman that I want to be because I know who I want to be now. I know who I am now." So that's why it's actually a great idea to even start getting like thinking about marriage at that time, because you don't even like if you do that in your 20s, like if you're in your early 20s and you get married, you don't even know the person you're going to be like when your Saturn return hits and you become a different person, and you may not even like that person. You may not even feel like that is the right choice for you, but because you got married so quickly, I mean, a lot of people turn around and get divorced because of that, because they change. People change. And especially during that time, especially when you're going from young adult to full adult, which to me, when you're in your 20s, you're a young adult. And then when you're in your 30s, now you're an adult, right? So, um, true. Okay, I'll just say true. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So definitely, if you're dating men, stay to your standards that you have now, or if you don't have standards because you are like younger and stuff like that, start thinking and asking yourself, what do you want your life to actually look like? And then be stay according to plan. Like, choose people that will give you the lifestyle that you want, that are living the lifestyle that you want. And you do that by opening up your options, getting more deeper, not just being a dumb bunny. We think bunnies are cute and everything, but we don't think they're the smartest. Except my bunny. Like, guys, I actually do have a bunny. Isn't that funny? Let's take a sip. Hold on. I've been talking too much. But yeah. Okay. Oh, shoot. I spilled water on this. Okay. So, another thing. And thank you guys for asking questions and stuff. Like, yes, that's great. Another thing that I want women to be vigilant of is like flaunting wealth, like wealthy men flaunting wealth. This is not all across the board the truth. Like, there are plenty of wealthy men who, if you look at them, you can't tell that they're wealthy. And it's not just you know but you can tell, right? There's always going to be something that a wealthy man will invest in first, like whatever he's invested in. So usually if a man has money, the first thing he's going to do is fix the problems that he's insecure about. So if he has a receding hairline, he's probably going to go get a hair transplant. If he has messed up teeth, he's probably going to get his teeth fixed. If he has a busted car, he's probably going to get a nice car. That's probably, or a house or something like that. He's gonna do the thing that makes him like not feel the greatest, but it's not gonna be excessive jewelry or the designer this and designer that. Men don't really act like that, especially wealthy men, unless they're more flamboyant, which I'm not necessarily interested in more flamboyant men. Like, I need all the money to be flamboyant in my own self. So like, I need you not to have a shopping budget, right? Like with my husband, like he does not. I mostly do his shopping. Like, I will go and like he's like, "Oh, I need this. I don't have this." And then I'll just like pick out the stuff that he would need and stuff like that, because he's not very much so a shopper like that. Like, he goes and buys his suits. Like, that's the thing like I don't do. He does. But if it's just like casual stuff, or when we're going on vacation, like I'll buy clothes for myself and him, because he doesn't really want to think about that. And that is really just that easy for me, because I don't like men who really care about designer jewelry and all that stuff. Like, that is not my cup of tea with men who are a lot more in their feminine. Some women like that, and that's fine with them. They want a man who dresses and looks a certain way. I'm not that girl. So that's a huge of it. Are men who are more flamboyant a red flag? I wouldn't necessarily say they're a red flag, because it could just be who they are, and your personality may go with that person. But I'm saying, if you aren't that kind of person, if you don't want a guy who is very flamboyant, like I can't even think of any guy that I've dated that was like that, because I just don't. attract that, I guess. I attract more of a masculine man, and most masculine men aren't really that flamboyant. And honestly, my husband is white, so you know, he dresses as basic as they come, but very nicely, right? Like his shirt will be expensive, but it's not like with logos or anything. Like he doesn't like designer logos, but he has like designer items. They're just not logoed out. They're just like good quality. Like he likes his stuff good quality because he needs them to last, especially for his profession. But when, we're going to the gym, we're working out, we're bike riding, we're swimming and stuff like that, like that's he dresses for what he's doing. And most men who are successful, they're just going to dress for what they're doing. So if they're going to work out, they're going to wear stuff to work out. If they're just running errands, they're going to wear casual clothes to wear errands. It's not going to be so. And I know and I know some people think like black men are more flamboyant, but I have black male friends and they aren't flamboyant either. They pretty much dress for the occasion of what they're doing. So it's not a complete red flag. It's just not my type. But I've seen flamboyant men around, and to each his own. I'm into flamboyant. I'm into flamboyant at all, but I do see them as a feminine. Yeah, you're not, and yeah, they are definitely more feminine. Just because they care more about like womanly things. And that's the thing, like I like the fact, like as women, you would know, like if you watch this channel enough times, like that I like wear like extensions, I wear like clip-ins and stuff in my hair, just like because I want like length and fullness, but like I don't wear them all the time. Like I'll wear my natural hair, like just like straight down, whatever, or I'll just put in clip-ins, or I'll have tape-ins in my hair. Of my husband, to say the least, he's like, "Oh, I like your hair. Oh, how'd you like?" He saw me putting in my clip-ins one time, and he was like, "How do you put it in and it make it look like that? Like, how do you do?" He was so confused on how it even worked. Whereas though, like a more flamboyant guy will understand my hair, and that it's just like too much in my business. He's gonna be like, "Oh, I like your makeup." Like a flamboyant man will be like, "Oh, your makeup looks so good." And whereas though like a masculine man was like, "Oh, you look pretty today." Like it's just like a way of like them knowing too much about women's stuff that like makes me not attracted to them. Like I don't like men who's into women's business. Like that to me is a huge red flag. And like that happens, especially if a man, unfortunately, that is the thing with black men, and I'm just being honest, like that if they are raised with just a single mom and they was raised around a lot of women, they will know everything about your hair, makeup, nails, everything, and they'll comment to you about it. And that just makes me really uncomfortable. Like I don't like when men are in women's business. Like I don't like that where my hair or my makeup or anything like that. It's just not masculine to me. So it's not a red flag to me, but I don't like it. What do you think about plastic surgery to attract wealthy men? Well, it depends on what type of plastic surgery you're doing. I don't think that you necessarily need plastic surgery to attract wealthy men because you don't know whose type you're going to be. But I don't think that you need to get any plastic surgery that is trendy. So I don't think you need to get like a BBL to attract wealthy men. Like if you are bad built, like you don't have like a great shape, if you just get skinny, you're gonna attract, you just have to slim down your look, because when you have fat there, it doesn't go in the right places. So you don't necessarily have to go get a BBL. And unfortunately, people who have BBLs aren't really looked upon that well in high society or affluent circles. So that's not really going to do it. But if you need like a boob job or something like that, and that's like, "Oh, I want to get bigger boobs," that's fine. You can do that. Is it going to like attract or not attract a man? No, not necessarily. Like you can be flat chested. Like I have no surgery and I attract wealthy men. But again, it's up to you and what you think. I don't think that the trendy stuff will work. I think like it's just like the minor things that are something that you may feel a little insecure about and want to do. But if it's like something like you can just lose the weight, that's going to make you look better anyways, right? If you just lose weight rather than just getting surgery, or if it's something on your face, If it's like a nose job and it's something that you want to do because you're insecure about it, yeah, sure. But again, you don't know whose type you are. Oh my God, Van Cleef. I've never seen that. I've never seen Van Cleefs on a man. That's women's jewelry. If I ever seen that, I would throw something at him, like, get out of here. Oh my God. No, that's like, no, no. I've never seen that. If I've seen women's jewelry, like I'm pretty sure those Van Cleef, like the I forgot the motif's name, but I'm pretty sure that's women's jewelry. So if I seen something like that on a guy, no. Do you even like me? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Have you ever dated a guy that liked grabbing your hair? Grabbing? I mean, in what kind of setting? That's grabbing. I mean, if he likes touching your hair, yeah, men will like to touch your hair if he's like into touching hair and stuff like that. But like grabbing your hair, you, you have to clarify on that one. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Zesty tendencies. Yeah, 100%. Like if a guy is doing things that are very feminine, it's gonna turn me off. If you know too many things about like women's stuff, it's gonna turn me off. Like that's just not masculine, and that's not why I'm dating you. Like if that was the case, I would be dating a woman. Like that would be better than dating a man. And then, anyways, but yeah, definitely with the grabbing the hair, like I wouldn't have a guy grabbing my hair. Like, you're not gonna pull out my hair. Like that's weird. Unless, you're into that. If you're into that girl, then but explain. Because I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Okay. Another thing about like that's another I would say myth is that you have to be a trophy wife. So this kind of goes into the plastic surgery a little bit. You don't have to look like a 10. You definitely don't need to be a 10, drop dead, anything like that. I kind of spoke about this yesterday, but like in reality, everybody has a type. Everybody finds certain people attractive. You may think that you need to look like and the thing of it is what women find attractive, men can find something completely attractive because this isn't a thing that happens probably frequently with me is I'll say to my husband like, "Oh my god, she's so pretty." And he's like, "Oh, she's okay." And I'm like, "Oh, this person is good looking." And he's like, "Yeah." And then he'll say, "Oh, this woman's pretty." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Not saying she's not, but like men and women look at attractiveness very differently. So what we may think looks really good and like I want to look like this person, he can look at that and be like, I think this one's more attractive. And you'd be like, whoa, I thought I needed to look like that. So the best thing for you to do is to hone in on your own looks, for you to be like 100% in who you are, whatever it is you feel like you need to do with your looks. Like me, like I like my hair like fuller and longer and like straight, like curly, wavy, like this kind of style is like my go-to style. My hair is not that long. My hair is like about, well, I just recently cut it, but it's like in a bob right now because it was just cut because my hair got damaged. Long story, but like I had in some like braid in extensions. And then like when I took it out, my hair was like knotted. Insane. I cried so hard when I seen that because my hair was like growing longer and longer. And then I put these stupid braid in extensions and it's not like a weave. It was like another technique and it like broke off my hair. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this thing. But a lot what I meant to say with that is I like to do my hair a certain type of way and I like think that it looks really nice. I do my makeup. I work with what I like that looks good on me. And I don't think, I mean, some people say I look like people, but I don't think I look like anybody. I think I look like myself. And that's my own look. And people like that look. Some people don't like my look. Some people don't think I'm attractive. But then there are some people who think I'm very attractive and they like the way that I look. So you can't really like think that you need to look like something, like there's a standard of beauty that you need to look like. I would say look the best you can look, right? So you do your makeup that looks good for you. You make sure you're healthy. You don't have to be, like I said yesterday, a size 0. You can be the size you are, but work out, make sure you're healthy. Like, even if you're a size 0, you should be working out. You should be doing things that are healthy, eating well, and just taking care of yourself, taking care of your skin. These are all important with your looks, and that's going to attract the person, because you don't know what the person who's going to marry you likes you for, right? He can say, wow, I really love your chin. You have a great chin. Like, when I saw your chin, I was just like, I mean, that's kind of weird, but I'm saying, like, that could be like, wow, like your chin like brought in your whole face in. And this whole time you're like, shit, I thought my chin was a problem. I was going to actually change. I was going to get fillers in my chin. And now he's telling me that he loves the way my structure of my face is. That's what I'm saying. Like, so just kind of embrace what you look like, and just like, level it up, enhance it a little more. And just, if you do feel like you want to get surgery or anything like that, I mean, that's completely up to you. But I'm saying, like, you'll be surprised to see, like, once you put a little effort in your look, who actually likes you. And yeah, like, I used to wear my hair curly, like in the natural state. Like, I used to wear curly, like the photos that I have on my YouTube, like the main photo of me where my hair is curly. I wore my hair like that like a couple of times. And I didn't like the men I was attracting with my hair like that. Like, it's crazy. Like, I was like, oh, I'm not getting the right kind of guy with my hair like this. So then I was like, okay, I like my hair like this better. And I started attracting more of the guys that I liked. So I do that. Like, I do change up my look, just what I'm comfortable with, also, obviously. But I do see, like, okay, who am I attracting with this kind of style, with this kind of makeup, this kind of dress? Okay, that's the look that I like. That's the people that I want to attract. So then I'll get that, if that makes any sense. Dang, girl, you were chatting. It's a thing. It's even on TikTok. It's called a trend called pretty boy and pretty girl. Yeah, nobody's dating a pretty boy. That's the thing. Like, this, nobody's dating a pretty boy. Pretty boys, essentially, the thing with pretty boys, they don't have to have money, because there are women who are dating them for their looks. So I'm not really interested in dating any pretty boys. It's not anything that I tell you ever. And you do get like more feminine kind of pretty boys, because they do invest in their looks. But like, nobody's dating you. Who the type of women that I'm speaking to, you ladies, um yeah, we're not even pretty boys. Like, what are we, in high school? Like, no. Like, we're talking about grown, successful men who have wealth and want to be generous with it. So we're not talking about men who are going to spend all his money on himself and forget to get you something on Christmas, Valentine's Day, and your birthday. We're not talking about those guys. We're talking about men who buy you gifts on their birthday. Like, that's a thing. Like, I spoke about this before. Like, my husband will be going out for his birthday. He's paying for it. If even the gifts that I've gotten him, because I have the card to our bank account, he's basically paying for his own gifts, but he doesn't care. He doesn't take his birthday as a big deal. Like, he's not a woman, so he doesn't think it's a big deal. Like, I've seen men who's women say, like, this is what I did for him for his birthday, and they like do this whole lavish great thing. And I'm like, does he really care about his birthday? Like, most men that I've known, like, they don't care that much about their birthday. It's just like another day. Like, they're happy you said, happy birthday, but it's not like a huge deal. And usually, like, with my husband, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go traveling and stuff like that. And he's like, all right, whatever you want to do. And like, he pays for it. So I don't feel like this idea that, like, a man being so much more into his looks and he's spending money, like, we're getting facials together, we're doing this to get, like, that's not my vibe. I need all the money from me. I'm very, very high maintenance. I need every single dollar for myself. Find your own looks. Yeah. Oh, I meant the trend on TikTok talks about how different ways men and women see, oh, someone that's pretty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting how that actually works, because I'm always shocked at who he thinks is pretty and who's not pretty. Like, I think it's more shocked of who he thinks is not pretty, and I think that they're pretty, and I'm like, oh, okay. And we watch what's the show? Married at First Sight. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but this last season they had it in Colorado, and we knew like none of the guys were gonna like their wives, and they none of them did. And the my husband said the reason why they don't like their wives is because obviously they're not attracted to them, but the reason why they don't like them is because he didn't choose her. So he was like, with men have to be the one to choose the woman for him to like her. Like if it's someone else doing the choosing, if someone else is saying, "Hey, you need to date this person, you need to be like this person, you need to," then it's not that. Like men know what they like, and every guy is unique to why he chose a woman, and he needs to do that process for him to actually like her and want to be with her. Like he has to literally choose her. And that's the same thing with women. And I think like so many women are like, what we need to do as women is like actually choose the guy and not let the guy just choose us. Like, yes, he can choose you, but you also have to choose him. So a guy could like you and he's like, yeah, like I want to be with you and stuff. And some women are like, okay, whatever, fine, I'll be with him or whatever. And it's like not up to standard, not up to par. And you're just kind of like, what the hell? Girls, stick to your boundaries. Like, did you actually choose this guy? No, because a lot of these women that go 50-50, or they're the ones who complain about men and all this stuff, is because they're not actually choosing with their standards. They just chose any old guy who liked them and then got mad because he didn't step up to the plate. He wasn't the guy that he needed to be or something like that. Well, you should have chose better. That is actually true. Um Man pursue. Yeah, men do pursue. Men should always pursue. And that's the thing. You need a man to pursue you, of course. Boundaries and values are different and have realistic standards. I mean, what do you think are realistic standards? Because realistic standards to who? The thing of it is like value boundary boundaries and values are very important, of course. But you also, what your boundaries and your realistic standards are may be different to my realistic standards, right? A person can have their realistic standards are below my values. So also those are also individual, and what you think is realistic may be not realistic to another person. So I think it's important for people to have those discussions with themselves and choose people accordingly. Like it could be my realistic standard is that I'm able to travel first class every time I go on a flight, and someone else is like, oh my god, that's not a realistic standard. And then someone else can be like, yeah, of course, that's the only way. So what is the standard, right? That's the thing. Like realistic to who? Because again, I don't give advice for women who want just the average Joe, because I don't think you need advice for that. I think you can walk out the door and find a guy very simple that's average. But also, if you want to date more wealthy, like okay, you need to understand like you do need to have values and boundaries and standards as well. So that's I have attracted wealthy men that scare me, so I don't choose them back. Yeah, the what scares you about them? Like that's the thing. Like just because like I feel this way all the time because I live in Los Angeles, so there are celebrities all the time. Like guys, literally there was two celebrities at my gym, and they my gym is so low key, and I'm always shocked when I see celebrities there because I'm like, and they're not like, big A-list celebrities. They're like celebrities I know because I've watched a television show and I've seen them in like one of my favorite television shows, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you're such and such in this." And but I don't treat people different even if you're a celebrity. I don't treat you different. Like I've been in, I mean, some of you guys know, but I've been in Eddie Murphy's house. Like I've actually like Eddie Murphy is like one of my favorite actors, and I met him in person. I did not treat him any different. I just treated him with respect. He treated me with respect, and I was there to do his daughter's hair, so it was like a completely professional setting, but like I stayed there all day. Like we had dinner. It was like a great experience. But I didn't treat him any different than I would somebody else. I didn't like fan out and say, "Oh my God, you're my favorite." Even though in my mind, I'm like, "Oh my God, this is a full circle. Like I watched all your movies." That's the thing. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care who you think you are. I'm going to treat you with respect, of course, but you're just another man and I'm a woman, right? That's my position. No matter how much money a guy has in his bank account, what investments he has, he's a man and I'm a woman. He wants me. And at the end of the day, this is the thing that you have to remember, ladies, to hold your power each time. Every guy who's taking you out and going out with you, you need to remember this one thing. They all want to sleep with you. They all want to sleep with you. They all want a piece of you. They all want you. So if all of them want you, you're not looking at them like, oh my God, I want to sleep with all of these guys. I want to sleep with. No, no, no. But men look at you like that. They look at you as someone they want to sleep with. That's why they're taking you out. So the position, you're always in the position of power because they always want something from you. They want actually to sleep with you. So you're always in power. That's why I'm always saying, like, don't give it up so easy. Don't give it up so quick because that's your position of power. So you shouldn't be afraid of them. No, they want you. They're actually in this position a fan of you. You're the one with the power. So there's nothing to be afraid with. What you need to start doing is sit in your power and say, okay, oh, you like me? That's so cute. Like you act like a woman who's in charge. You act like a woman who knows who she is. You act like a goddess and you know like, hey, at the end of the day, I know you want to sleep with me. That's why we're here today. Right? You like every guy, like I think that's also the thing. Like people think like, oh yeah, this guy, he's so great. Da, da, da. You know he wants to sleep with you, right? That's all you need to know with every single guy. Remember that. And then you remember your power. That's because you're in power at that point. Boundaries are limits or spaces between people in a relationship that creates a safe and healthy environment. They can be physical, emotional. Okay, I know what that is. Yes. Unrealistic relationship beliefs can be defined as predisposition that bias a person towards interpreting intimate relationship events in irrational matter on which are based by helpful. Okay, cool. Their energy, like either they chase me and that energy scares me away, or because they have, or they cause me to have a nightmares. Oh, girl, I don't know. I never, I never had that. But someone chasing you, I mean, if you gotta run away with some money, run away with something from them, right? If they're chasing you, if they want you, the I mean, I would do this because this is what I used to do. When I was dating and I didn't like a guy. I would if I knew he really liked me and I wasn't really into him and obviously he was wealthy, I would always start being extra. Like I would ask for things all the time. Like I'm like, "Oh my god, I need money for this. I need this. Can you get me this? I want this bag." Like I would be extra and I would ask him for like shoes, bags, things. I would like ask him for more things because I wanted to, well, I wanted the thing, but I didn't really care if he gave it to me or not, but I'm like, "Hey, like I kind of want to get him to go away." And most of the time, they would start giving me stuff and giving me money and giving me stuff. And then eventually, like, because they see it's not really getting them anywhere, then they would like cut themselves off. So that is a good trick. So you can get something out of it while they are, if you are trying to get away from them. And if you know you're trying to get away from them and you do that and then they're doing like great stuff and it gets you to like them, then you automatically put yourself in a better position because then they know like the level and what you like and that you're a bit more high maintenance, and so they'll like start treating you as such. So it's kind of a win-win. If you want to get rid of them, start doing that, and if you just was like, hey, I need to, let's see what happens, start doing that too. I mean, that's what I did. um Unhealthy relationships can have many characteristics that negatively impact the people involved. Some characteristics of an unhealthy relationship include control. One partner makes all the decisions. Yeah. Dating and courting are different. Yeah. Yeah, this is very true. Like if a partner, that's the thing, when you are married, this is what you realize. Like it's not about, both of you guys start making the decision. You both make the decisions. It's just is what it is, because you're thinking about one another and you actually make your decisions and that benefit the both of you. You don't make decisions that's just like, oh, it's only going to be working for me, and not you, right? You make decisions for what's best for the team, and it's not like what people say, like men lead, men make all the decisions. That's not necessarily the case. And if you have a relationship with that, then again, like this Andrew said, like you're with a controlling man. But the reality of it is you both are making decisions. You're both kind of in control the whole time. So you keep your control. But when you're dating, you are not married, right? So you're living your life, they're living their life. You guys are separate. You're dating each other. You're not married. Even when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, you are not married. You're living separate lives. Even if you guys go and commingle and live together, you are not married. You are living separate lives. Stop. And that's what I tell you, ladies, like stop living like you're married before you're married, even if you're living with a guy. You need to know, once you're married, then you think like that. But when you're not married, when you are not legally bound to the person, you need to think for yourself and you need to do things that's going to benefit yourself. So yes, control, you can only control yourself. I can't control anybody. I know that. I can control you guys. If I could control everybody, like that would be a boring world. What would be the point of that? So the idea of like a person trying to control you, even if they think they're controlling you, you don't have to tell them that they're not. Like, you're not going to control me. I'm going to do what I want. Even in marriage there's no control, but there is, like, with decision making and stuff like that, then you start thinking for the other person. Like, I've never, like, when I left Boston, where I grew up, my hometown, and I left Boston after I finished university, and I was dating someone at the time. I did not tell like tell the person, like, I'm thinking of moving to LA. Should I move to LA? Oh my gosh, is this something I should do? I didn't use them because they weren't my husband. You're not someone that I need. Like, yes, I could consider you, but I know I'm not going to marry you. And I know what I actually want to do. This is actually how men work. This is how they like, women are always surprised when a man does what he wants to do when he's not married to you. That's the same way you need to be. So essentially, when you're not married, you make the decisions that are right for you. You don't have to control anybody. And if you're trying to control people, then you're wasting your time because you just can't anyway. So yeah. And dating and courting are very, very different, but they are the same. You can date somebody and they not be courting you. A person who's courting you is actually trying to go far with you. A person who's just dating you can be casually dating you. So yeah, you should, but it depends, right? I think it's different, but it's also the same. Courting, to me, seems like you are trying to get to the next level of relationship, because there are levels in relationship. You don't get in a relationship, and this is where a lot of people mess up. You don't get in a relationship and stay at level one, which is dating, right? And level one and a half, dating, courting, and then you get in a relationship, right? That is not, like, that's how people stay in boyfriend and girlfriend for 10 years and don't get anywhere. You should be progressing, like, you should be continuously progressing, or why are you even in this relationship? I always say, like, if it's taken like a year plus and you're not engaged, then you should not be in this relationship, especially if you're grown. Like, if you're a kid, if you're young, if you're early 20s and stuff like that, fine, do what you want. But I'm talking about adults, right? Us adults, 25 plus. If you are in a relationship with someone and it has been a year and you're not even engaged, right? 2 years and you're not engaged, your relationship is dead where it's at. It's not going anywhere. It's not moving, because every relationship, there are stages. Even in marriage, after you get married, there are stages. There's the honeymoon phase. There is the commingling, like the living together, being responsible phase. Then it's, if you have children, then it's the parenting phase. And then it's when your children move on, then it's the empty nesting phase. Then and then it's the grandparent phase. Like, there are stages in life. So if you're in a relationship and you're stagnant in the dating and courting or just boyfriend and girlfriend, and that's not, going anywhere, then you don't make decisions based on that person. You have to do what's best for yourself. So, I mean, I hope that makes sense. I turn down very attractive and successful guys who want, girl, why? Because you're thinking too much about it. You are too much in your head. You need to just start having fun. Like, it's not about like any, like, you want to have fun when you're dating, especially when you're single. Like, are you actually having fun? Like, if you have opportunity and you're young and obviously you must be beautiful, if you have these opportunities and you're just letting them go by the wayside, then there's something deeper going on with you, because you're not actually enjoying life. You're letting opportunities slip you. And it doesn't matter, like, honestly, if you're going to marry the person, if this person is right for you or not. But if you're getting all these opportunities and you're pushing them away, then there is something deeper going on with you, that, I mean, therapy or anything else, maybe that's better for you, to focus on that. But there's something in you that you're not confident in, and that you're pushing people away that actually want to get closer to you. So I think it's important that you kind of figure that out, because you need to be having fun. Like, I'm not sure where you live. Do you live in Vegas? I forgot. I think we kind of talked about it before, but like, if you live in a place or you're around people that are successful that want to take you out, girl, I'm having a good time. Like, I'm getting every opportunity that comes my way. Like, I'm not letting things like fall by the wayside. You only have one life to live. And if it's something going on with you internally, go fix it and then go back out here. Like, get what's coming to you. Like, clearly people are attracted to you. You have like an attraction to you that is bringing these people in. So it's like, you don't have a problem manifesting them in. You're having a problem with actually receiving what you asked for. So I would definitely say, dig a little deeper on that. And okay, you're in San Diego, girl. That's the thing. I always said that if I didn't choose LA, as soon, because I didn't visit San Diego until I moved here. And I was like, yo, if I visited San Diego first, I would have been living in San Diego. Like, I love San Diego. And those guys are so ready to do everything. Like, okay, so I know, girl, yeah, figure out what's going on with you, because you already attracting them. And I already know, because those guys in San Diego, they're ready to marry you today. What's up? And I'm not talking about the military guys. I'm just all those guys in San Diego. And I love San Diego. San Diego, it's so beautiful. How do you deal with guys wanting to just talk or text and not move on to an actual date? I stop responding. Like, those men who do that are a waste of time, and I do not respond. And yeah, I stop responding, and I'm nobody's pen pal. I just don't talk to them. I move on. I have more people coming towards me. And I don't, so if you remember like my past video, no coffee dates, which I get so much hate under that video. It's so funny. Like, all the men who's like, oh my God, like, how could, I'm so offended. You should be not telling these women to go on coffee dates. Like, okay, all right. Well, I met this person on a coffee date and it was great. Okay. Well, are you married to her? No. Okay. Shut the hell up then. Like, it's crazy. But in that video, I talk about like these long conversations. Like, you're only talking to a guy for 5 to 10 minutes, and that is to plan the date. If he is not trying to plan a date with you, then he's trying to be a pen pal. He's trying to waste your time. He doesn't have any money, because most men who are obviously have some type of money, who are wealthy and who are really interested in you, they want to see you in person. They want to see what's up for real. Like, they just want to see you in person, because anything can happen when you meet a person in the face. And if they're on the phone with you or texting you, they're not trying to see you, then they don't like you that much. And I would just stop talking to them. It's not worth the time or effort. And the guys are successful who are doing this. Yeah, well, then they're not that interested. That's the thing. You hold the standard. Like, after 3 days of texting you and there's no date set, then I'm not talking to you anymore. And usually the thing of it is if that happens, because I told some of my clients to do that, like to cut the guy off, then he'll come back like, oh my God, I would love to see you. Like, when can we? Then he'll start trying to plan the date because you stopped responding. Like, I'm not here being anybody's pen pal. Like, I'm not interested in that. And yeah, like, what are we really going to talk about? How are you? How's it going? Like, that's why um I mean, if you guys, it depends. Like, on, I'm assuming that you met this person online, and on my in my course, The Feminine Way to Date Online, I go through this where I set up the profile with you guys, and I show you the men to choose from, and I go through like how to have a conversation with these guys. Like, I literally am on the dating app, and I'm showing you these things step by step. That is like the greatest. Like, I spent so much time building that course for you guys, especially if you're online dating. And I do suggest, like, if you're single, that you should be online, you should be dating in person, like, just to keep your bases loaded so you're able to attract multiple different types of people. But in that course, I teach you how to actually talk to these guys so it could get from off of online to becoming in person. And, I've had great success with that in helping women, turn the conversation from online to in person. But it really just stop talking. Because you've talked too much at this point, if they're just keep on going. Because if they're just saying, how are you, how you doing, all, like, day after day after day, then that's even annoying. But if you've had like engaging conversation on the phone, on text, then they don't really need to see you. So they're going out with the woman who isn't really talking that much, but she's beautiful. And they're like, okay, well, I got to take her out. This one I could just talk to, like, we can have a pen pal situation. So I would definitely just say, stop responding. Marriage is a partnership. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Courtship is more serious and traditional than dating. It involves getting to know your partner with the expectation of marriage at the end is the end goal. Dating is a broad term that can mean many things. Exactly. San Diego. I love San Diego. There are great guys out there. Yeah, there really are some great guys out there. And it's funny, when I was dating, I would meet so many San Diego guys, and I'm like, dang, you're too far. Like, I don't mind going to San Diego, but I like to be a little closer. Yes, my issue is sharing with my family. My sister says she's jealous of me. I think she's sending me the evil eye. Okay, so that's how you have to move in silence. And that's unfortunate because, my sister is my best friend. She's right here. This is my sister. We have the same last name. Um um well, yeah. That's unfortunate. But if that's the case, if, someone is not supporting you or anything like that, then you keep things quiet. Like, you keep it with you. Like, I love moving in silence. Like, when I'm doing anything, I'm moving in silence. I'm not, telling everybody my plans. I'm not telling what everybody was going on. Like, I may pop up and be like, I'm engaged. It's like, oh my God, how? Like, yeah, I'm engaged. I'm married. This is what happens. Like, like, if you see that people aren't really supportive of you, or they're like throwing like a little bit of hate on there, you don't want to taint that with any energy. Like, you want support. So if you do want to tell somebody, you have to find someone who supports you, like a grandmother, or like, usually older women who understand life a lot more. They are always excited. Like, with my mom, when she loved the way that I was dating, because she loved that I was dating successful men. She loves my husband like to death. She treats him like a king, because, of who he is, and she respects that. And, she's excited for her daughter to have married well. So you need to make sure that, you're around people who want the best for you. And if you don't have that, then, you can always talk to me, girl. We're always here. You can catch me in this live. The guys I attract that are successful and hot are 5 years younger than me. They are often 27 years old and successful for their age. What do you think about dating younger? I think you can date younger. I just wouldn't take them serious. I like older guys. I don't want to be the older woman. I'm sorry. I want to be I'm younger than my husband. He's about 12 years older than me. I like that. He could have been older than me. I've dated older than my husband. So I'm always going to be the young girl. I like being younger. With men, even if they're the same age as you kind of have to like take back like 10 years. So if you're 30, they're 20. But if a guy is successful and he is younger, then usually, he's a lot more mature and stuff like that. But I would, proceed with caution. I wouldn't give them all my all. Like, no, but I would date you. I would see what's up, but I'm not going to take you that serious. Now, if he steps up to the plate and he becomes like the man and all that stuff, then yeah, sure, you're doing everything you need to do. But am I specifically dating younger men? Like, no, like I don't even want you in the same decade as me. Like, I need you older than me. Like, I'm a millennial. My husband's what, Gen X or something like that. Like, I need you that and older. Like, I don't need anybody younger than me. Like, it's just not going to work out. Like, I'm not attracted, like I just look at you as younger, and that's just not what I'm into. I want to be the young one. I love being the young one. And that could be like I'm the younger child. I'm the youngest in my sibling groups, out of my siblings. So I like being younger. So I couldn't be the older one. It's just not it. She's 25 years old, so beautiful and has hateful heart. And so, yeah, yeah, she's still young. She still hasn't accepted who she is. So that's not, I mean, it's probably because the guys are like around her age and they're trying to talk to you instead. But yeah. And if you're only attracting those kind of guys, it does, like, you need to go places where more older men are. That's going to be a whole lot better for you to attract wealthier, older, more distinguished men who are just older than you than 27, because you're probably in places, because where 27-year-old men hang out and where 47-year-old men hang out are two different places. So you're probably in places where you're in a younger space, so you're getting younger men. So I would probably suggest dressing a little maybe different too. That's also going to be the case. If you dress more trendy, you're going to get younger looking men. If you dress more classy, you're going to get more older distinguished men. If you frequent at the popular place, you're going to get popular people, the younger people. If you go to the more luxurious, nicer, more elegant places, you're going to meet those kind of men. And I would just switch it up. If you like doing that, then still do that. But I would say, branch out, because you want the guys who you're attracting again to have different things going on. Like, I like men who have some life under them, like who could teach me a thing or two, who have like long investments, like long-term investments. Like, they have, like, when they bought their house, it didn't cost how much it costs now. Like, they have some equity in them and in their houses. Like, I like equity. So that's just me, I'm not mad at it though. So that's a good thing. But I definitely like some equity in a man. I think I'm gonna use that instead of older. I'm gonna say I like a man with a little bit of equity. That's good. Okay. All right. If there's anything else, because I've been on here for a while, but you can ask the questions now, as you guys have been doing. I'm just checking to see that I said everything that I wanted to say. Um Yeah. So, and I kind of said this before yesterday, that not every wealthy man is generous. So don't look to the money he has and what he has as important to you unless he starts including you in that, until he starts actually investing in you. So it doesn't matter if you date a wealthy man and he has money, but you have nothing to show for it. He didn't buy you anything. He didn't give you anything. He didn't take you on any trip. He didn't do anything to improve your life or add to your life. Then it doesn't matter, right? You want to make sure that whatever you get out of this relationship is going to enhance you and in your life. And a lot of the times, if you do want to marry, because obviously that's what I'm going to give you, ladies, you're talking about marriage, you want to make sure that, like, off the bat, you set the tone of the woman that you are. So if you're in the beginning dating, like, he should know, like, you're not some like low maintenance woman who, he can just not spend any money on and do this. Like, even if you are low maintenance, something about you needs to be expensive. Something about what you do, your lifestyle is, should be expensive. Because usually if he has wealth, he's going to be expensive. Like, this one guy, who a client was dating, she was telling me how he has a $20,000 a month hobby. I think he does some type of hobby or whatever like that. And he was talking to her about um like getting like mingling their lives together, but he wanted her to um put in money in it, right? He wanted to go 50-50. A guy with a $20,000 hobby, $20,000 a month hobby, was talking to her about 50-50. And this girl, that is bananas to me. This man had no respect, right? Because to me, it's like, okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, just because a man has money, if he is not actually including and investing you in that, it does not matter. Because clearly he has money. If you're spending $20,000 a month on a hobby, you're not a professional at it. It's a hobby. I can't even remember right now what it actually is. I want to say it has something to do with cars. But men have hobbies, right? And my husband's hobby, he's baseball. He's a baseball guy. He plays baseball, he coaches baseball, he loves baseball. That's what he does on the weekends. That's his hobby. I've dated men who surfing is their hobby. They love surfing, they travel surfing, surfboarding, what is it? Snowboarding is a hobby. Like men usually will have a hobby, whatever it may be. They'll invest in that hobby. But if a guy is willing to invest in a hobby and not invest in the woman that he's going to be with, then you don't need to be dating that kind of man. So you need to set the standard up like in the beginning when especially when he's wealthy, that you require something. Like you require some type of maintenance. Like with my husband, he already knew like this woman likes designer items. Like that's her. She likes to dress really nice. She likes designer items. She likes to go on nice trips. Like I think 2 weeks into dating, he took me to San Francisco because I said I'd never been. And then he took me shopping while we were there because I was like, oh, I heard they have good shopping. And he was like, yeah, I'll take you shopping. And then he was like, okay, we went to San Francisco. He took me shopping and we went to a baseball game because we did things that I liked and we did something that he likes because he loves baseball. That is like a compromise, right? That is something like a wealthy man will do. He will say, oh, okay, I'll take you to this place. You like to shop, we'll get some good shopping in, we'll go and watch this baseball game because that's something I like to do, and we get to experience a new city together. And that was great. So if a man is really truly interested in you, and you're interested in him, especially if he has money, you need to start like letting him know from the beginning the kind of woman that you are. Like you don't have to be like this easy woman who continues like to gets whatever he gives him, like, oh, I don't want that. Like, no, like when you walk past Van Cleef, you say, oh my God, I love that. Like, I want that so bad. It's so pretty. Or you walk back Cartier, oh my God, like, can we go in there? Like, I remember I walked when we went to San Francisco. We walked right into Bulgaria. I was like, I want to show you this because this is what I love and think I got it. Like everything that you want, you better tell him like, oh my God, let's walk in here, let's do this. Like with my husband, like when we went to Hawaii, it was my first time going to Maui, well, in Hawaii period, but we went to Maui and we went, like, I was like, oh my God, they have like great shopping there and stuff like that. We walked right into those stores. I showed them what I wanted and like I had the lady in on it. Like you just kind of have to like ask for what you want, especially if you're dating a wealthy man that can afford it. He's gonna appreciate, okay, she knows what she wants, we're gonna get it then. So think of that. Thank you. My current boyfriend of 3 years, we're both young in our 20s, is not rich, but I want that lifestyle. Yeah, so it then you're gonna have to date different men. Because you guys are both young, you're in your 20s. What age are you and what age is he? That's important to know. And at that point, like if you know you want that lifestyle and you don't see him being able to give you that lifestyle, so he could be in his 20s and say he's like in law school or he's like associate at a big law firm or say he's in residency to become a doctor, then eventually he could become, give you that lifestyle. But if you guys are young and he is, doing really nothing of the sort, he's not really pursuing a bigger career that's going to be able to give him that, then okay. I'm 20, he's 21, we're both in university. Okay, so you guys are pretty young and you're both in university. It girl, I would be dating. If you want that lifestyle for real, I would be dating older guys who can give me that lifestyle because I mean, unfortunately, he's not gonna be able to give it to you right now, but he's in school right now, so that's fine or whatever. But I would be dating like if I'm 20, I'm dating guys like 30, like a guy who's already working and making some type of money. And I'm going to be asking for gifts. Like you get to use your youth as a way to get what you want because you already are younger. So you can use that to like, oh, I want this. And they're already living in the real world. They already like are making some type of money they're going to start giving to you to give you that lifestyle that you want because you're still young. You don't know if you're going to marry this guy that you're with. So I wouldn't necessarily like bet and wait for this guy if you want to experience that while you're in school because again, these guys, they're not going to be looking to you for anything because you're 20 years old. So I would date older, like 27, 30, because those guys, especially professional men, right? You don't want anybody who's less than. And I would definitely say, like, you know, kind of ditch the boyfriend. But that's just if you want to, right? Like if you really want that kind of life, then you're gonna have to date older and you're gonna have to like, use your youth and your beauty and a little bit of your innocence to get what you want. Like, you turn into like the younger girl who wants this and that, and he's going to give it to you because you're young and you're in school. And that's what you're going to use. You're going to use being in school to get what you want. Like, oh, I'm a student, I'm studying to this. Like, the thing of it is, like, that people don't realize is that people like to give to people who they believe in. This is why, like, a lot of people who sit on the corner and ask for money, they don't make that much money. Like, they make money, but they don't make that much money. But a person will give, say, like a rich man, he see a person on the corner, he'll give them 20 bucks, right? But that same rich man could see a beautiful woman who tells him like, oh, I'm in university, I'm young, I'm just trying to do this. He will give her $10,000. He could have gave that homeless person that really needed it $10,000, but he's giving this woman who has a home, who's okay without him, but because she's like, oh, but I need this and I need that, is because he believes in her. He believes in her story, right? He believes in like, oh, she's going to university, she's struggling right now, but she's going to become something. People like people they can believe in, so you can kind of use that to your advantage. Like I've done that so many, like basically my whole 20s I've done that, and it worked out perfectly well, right? So I would definitely, if you do want to live that kind of lifestyle, kind of put yourself in that vibe of older. And I wouldn't say you need to go too old. You don't need to go in the 40s because I know like in the guys in the 30s, 33, especially like if they're a lawyer, right? They're probably associates or like senior counsel. They have money, right? They're making good enough money. They have a nice apartment. They live in that bachelor lifestyle, so they have enough money to give. I'm not telling you they'll marry you, but I'm telling you they will give you the lifestyle you're looking for. You want trips, you want bags, jewelry, money, cars, clothes, whatever you want. You got to look to those guys who are already in the profession. Any advice on how to get a new car from a man? Oh, yeah. So don't be like me. So I'll tell you a quick little story. When I turned 25, this guy, the doctor who I was with for a significant amount of time, who I thought I was actually going to be with, turns out I wasn't with him. So he's a surgeon, so he definitely had enough money. He was older than me. He's even older than my husband. And it was my birthday and he threw a party for me, right? And he bought me designer stuff and did all of this stuff. And when he looked at the bill for partying with me and all my friends, all the stuff he bought me, and he was like, I could have just bought you a car. And I was like, and in my mind, I already had a car, so I wasn't really thinking about a car. But he was like, I could have just bought you a car, all of this. Like, why didn't I just buy you a car? And I was just like, you know what? You're right. But what I mean that to say is that once you could kind of just like present to the guy like, this is what I need. Like there's so many times like a guy, like I've always had a car. Like I'm not really a car girl, but like I've always had a car, a pretty nice car. So I never really needed a guy to get me a car, but guys have always offered me a car. So a lot of the time, if they have a car, right? And you're like, "Oh my god, this car is so nice. I really like this car. Like I would love a car like this." And he's like, "Really?" He'll tell you like, "Oh, you want to drive it?" And like you'll like, this is why you need, girl, this is why you need to like actually connect with these guys. And then you drive the car or whatever, and you're like, "Oh my god, I love this car. Like I would love this car." And then he's basically going to be like, "Oh really? Like is that really something that you want?" Like you talk about it like that is something you really want. And then he's going to be like, "Oh, like seeing like she's really interested in this car." You could even get him to like see it on like your phone, like, "Oh, I've been seeing this car. I've been wanting this car so much. Like this is how much it costs." Like then you start bringing up like the cost of it and how much it's going to cost, and how like, you really need it because you don't have a car. Now you're putting in like, "Oh, but I don't have a car for this." And if the guy is wealthy, he's going to give you the car. He's going to get the car for you. He may lease it though, just letting you know that. He may not buy it off. So it depends on what the car looks like. Like if it's a brand new Audi and it looks like, if it's a sports car, he might like say, "Okay, let me lease it." Or he might, if he's going to put in his name, he's probably going to lease it just to make sure that you guys are going to still be with each other. But if you're saying like, "Okay, I need this amount of money, it's for the car that I need," he's going to give you the money. Like if he likes you and you already know like this is how much it's going to cost, I need the money for this, he is going to give it to you. Like I've had friends of mine who told the guy a story that was not even true about needing money for a down payment for a new apartment. He gave her the money that day, and that was the first day they met each other because he was so enthralled in love with her. So at the end of the day, like set it up, know what kind of car you want, and kind of set it up like this is how much it's going to cost, like, and ask for the money. I mean, he's going to offer the money, but you kind of set it up like that's the only thing that you want. That is what you want. And then he's going to give it for you. It's just that simple. Like men, especially wealthy men, once they know what you want and that's what you really want, that's again, like I was saying, they all want to sleep with you. That is the part that gets them. Their down their region is in control because they haven't yet slept with you and they want to sleep with you. And they know money is nothing to them. They have a lot of it, right? The only men who complain about, "I'm not trying to give no woman my money," they don't have enough. These guys, they have enough money. Them getting you a car is nothing. It's not a big deal. They can get you a car. It's not going to break their bank. They want to sleep with you. You're using that to get what you want. Say, "I really love this car. I really want this car." I've done that with bags. I've done that with jewelry. I've done that with trips. I've done that with everything that I wanted from a guy. I just say, "Oh, that's what I really want." And it's like, "Oh, okay, that's what you want. Okay, let me give it to you." Because they want to sleep with you. Right. And you still don't have to sleep with them. But I'm just telling you, it's really that simple with wealthier men. They're not thinking like broke men. They don't think like, "Oh my God, that's a big investment." Cars aren't that big of an investment, especially if they're a business owner, they can write it off. Um, you're right. Thank you. I needed to put myself out there with rich men. I've gotten comfortable with my current boyfriend. Yeah, and you're very young. Like you don't even know if you're really going to end up with this person, because you were so young. And being beautiful and young is going to be your ticket to whatever you want. There are so many women who are in college and they are clearing house because they are actually getting what they want because they're young and beautiful and they're taking advantage of it. So, and that is not going on OnlyFans or anything like that. That is literally just being a beautiful woman and who has dreams and aspires to be a great woman in the future and whatever you're studying in university. Even if that's not something you like are going to envision yourself, that's the story you tell, like you need help, this is what you want, this is what you're doing, and you're beautiful. They take that. Trust me, I've used it. It works every single time. Why do guys ask you on dates but never have any idea where to go? Should I just suggest the place? I like when the guy put in the work to plan the date. Okay, so some guys, that's the thing, it matters, but it kind of doesn't matter. Some guys, they don't have the time. Like if they're successful, they may have an assistant that they can put on the job to do it for you. But some guys also want to kind of see like where your vibe is at. So if a guy doesn't know, like, "Oh, like where do you want to go? Where do you want to see?" oh, I'm definitely gonna tell him where I want to go. Like, I don't care if like I get what you mean though, because it's like you want a guy to put in effort. But again, like if he's so busy, like if he's a doctor, right? He doesn't have that much time. He's probably gonna pick a restaurant he's gone to a bunch of times, or maybe he's heard of a certain place. You can suggest somewhere to go. Like my husband, I'll just say this: like his restaurant picks and my restaurant picks are completely different. I like my restaurant picks better than his restaurant picks. So it's not like a big thing. Our first date, like, yeah, he picked the place. Our second place, he's picked the place. But after we started like dating a lot more, then I started picking the places, or I started like looking at place, and then we kind of settled on the couple that we really like and that we go and we try out new ones as they come up. But like a lot of the time, like if the guy is very busy, maybe he doesn't have the time, maybe he doesn't know what type of restaurant you want to go to, but also you can then have the control to make sure that you pick like a fine dining restaurant. So if he tells you, oh, let's go to this place, and it's like some casual place you don't really want to go, you don't like the menu, then like do you really want to go? Or if he's saying like, oh, like do you have a place that you really want to check out and stuff, and there's a nice fine dining restaurant that you would always wanted to go to, oh yeah, like yeah, this one. So it sets the tone. Like he's like, that's the kind of woman she is. You're going to be dressed appropriately for that. You're going to look good. You're going to bring in the energy. And then he's like, I don't care how much that costs. I'm going to take her out all the time. Like this is the level that she's at. So it's kind of a little bit of even an advantage where you're kind of setting it up like this is the place that I like. And then if he wants to take you there, then fine. But you know, you're setting up the level. So if you choose like a 5-star type of restaurant, then he knows he can't come to you with a 3-star restaurant. You know what I'm saying? So it's annoying, but it works. Men like when the pressure is taken off. If he is busy, man, he doesn't want to do all the planning. He will be impressed if you plan the evening. Yeah, and it doesn't have to go that far. That it's exactly what D Nice says. So you can kind of set the tone. So, you know, take it as what it is and just the like, oh, okay, like I really like this place. This is, you know, or really want to check out this place. I think this place is cool. And that way you can be in the neighborhood that you want to be in. And, you know, you can kind of just be where you want to be instead of like being somewhere where you're like, I don't really like the menu. I wouldn't have chosen this place. So yeah, it's not that deep. Some guys are just, you know, too busy. But I would definitely thank you. You're welcome. Very welcome. Um I would definitely choose a really nice place. Like I said, I love fine dining, so I will definitely choose a place that I'm going to love, and the ambiance is there, and I'm gonna look beautiful. And that's usually what gets them, right? Like there's been clients before that a guy has chosen a place for them to go, and then he picked her up and she looked absolutely beautiful, and he was like, oh, I'm taking you to this place instead. Like I was gonna take you here, but we're gonna go here because you look amazing. And it's like so now you're setting up the tone, like this is how I look, this is where we're gonna go. So every other day, or he just gonna know the kind of woman that you are. And that's what you want to set up, especially when you're dating wealthier men. You want him to know like you have some class, you have good taste, you're someone he can look at as a wife. Because a lot of the things, and I think this, if there's no more questions, then I'll leave it at this. A lot of the time, a lot of these guys, they're dating you and they're also seeing like how you will be, like if they are looking for marriage, how you will be as a wife. So if you pick really nice places, you dress really nicely, like you're very classy, you're classic, your personality is there, you're a lovely woman, you're very beautiful and seductive, like he wants to sleep with you, you know, he finds you sexy, but also like you have this elegance and class about you, like you bring the energy up a little bit, like he feels like, wow, this is the life that I want to have with you. That's when he really starts like taking you in. Like with my husband, that's what he really likes about me, is that like everything that I do is like, you know, like class. it's filled with class and elegance, and it's fun and it's beautiful. And even sometimes like he's like, oh, I don't want to go to this place, I don't, or he was like, oh, I don't want to, like, I'm like, oh, you need to go change your shirt, and he's like, I don't feel like changing my shirt, like I don't want to do like get dressed up and stuff. And then he just goes and does it, and we go, and he was like, oh my god, I'm so happy that we went, like, yeah, this is definitely the place, like, like, and then he agrees with it, and he's happy that I'm this kind of like high maintenance kind of lady. And I'm not saying like high maintenance, like hard to deal with, but like, I like a certain level of luxury. Like I just do. That's just how I've always been and how I was raised. And I just love that for myself, my lifestyle. And my husband now like appreciates it even more because he was more of a laid back kind of guy. And now he's like, oh, I appreciate this. Like, yeah, okay, I love it. Right. Because for him, it's just whatever, but for me, it's important. Do you recommend meeting men in person or using dating apps? I'm 24, haven't dated in years as I'm working on myself and raising my standards. Now I'm ready again to date. I don't know where to start. Girl, all right, girl. Definitely my course will help you with that. No, but seriously, both. You need to be doing both. You're young and you've already worked on yourself. So that is amazing. Congratulations to you. Welcome to these streets. Okay. I'm married. I'm not in these streets, but I would definitely say yes, you need to be doing both. Both of them are going to be beneficial for you. You're young. So when you're dating online, that's why I just talked about my course, but I do have like a free video that is the feminine way to set up your dating profile. That's a popular video of mine that a lot of people found great value in. You watch that video. That will tell you how to set up your online dating profile. But if you want a deeper, like full example, everything right there, that's in the course, and that will help you do that. Dating in person, I am actually working on a course for that too, just so I can get like deep into it for you ladies. But you definitely need to be outside. Like when you're dating in person, like you need to make it a plan so that you show up outside in the right places, like you're actually visible to people. So a lot of people is like, well, I want to just meet my person, but they're not outside. Like when you're outside, say you're going shopping, you're going to go to the restaurant that's, wherever you're shopping at, you're going to sit at the bar and you're going to smile and you're going to talk to the people around you. You're going to be like a woman outside. You're going to present yourself to the world. You can't hide. You're going to go out more by yourself. You're going to be outside. You're going to do activities that you enjoy doing. That's going to bring you out more personality. You're going to smile. You're going to look good most of the time. Don't walk around in sweats. Don't walk around like looking beat up. Like every opportunity is an opportunity to meet the man for you. So you definitely want to put yourself out there constantly, like consistently, and it may not even take that long, like honestly, because it usually doesn't. Like if you're going outside, if you're mingling, you're going to networking events, you're going to mixers, you're just in the vibe, you're going to restaurants. If you watch my videos, I always talk about this, like sit at the bar, talk to the people at the bar. It's very easy. Like just by a simple thing you can do, if you see a guy sitting at the bar, you're going to the bar, you just say, and there's a free seat there, you just say, oh, is anybody sitting here? And then he looks to you and he's like, nope, you can sit right here. And then they start chatting you up. And next thing you know, he's buying you food, dinner, drinks. That's the lifestyle that usually happens. And just have your standards. Since you've already worked on that, you know what you want, and you keep that clear in your mind, and you're good to go. So I would definitely do both. Watch my video on that. I think I have a video on dating in person too. That's also on the channel, and check that out and you'll be good to go. But definitely do both. And the reason why I say do both is because you need to attract more people so that way they can see you, right? Because you're not, every time you go outside, you're gonna get more guys online because they're gonna see your profile. So you're gonna have a bigger range of people, because you should be building up like who your dating profile, right? You need to be dating men until you get married, right? You need to get as much guys that are interested in you, so then you can choose who you actually want to be with, so you can match them up against each other. So when you're online, you get like a bigger group of guys that can see you, that are interested in you, and then they can date you, and then you can see, okay, this person I like, this person is okay, this person no, this one's trying not hard enough, this one, like, you need to actually see guys for who they are. And if you just kind of date them one by one, you're not gonna be able to like compare and contrast them. And that way you'll be making like more like emotional decisions instead of logical decisions for your life. And I just don't, I think you should have emotional decisions, but when it comes to marriage or seriously dating and stuff like that, you need to be logical. And so you need other men to be compared, to compare them. Sorry. A guy in the past wanted to take me out, and I asked if I would and asked if I want to grab food or go for a walk and coffee. I never responded. I feel like that was insulting. It's not necessarily insulting. I think he was probably trying to figure out what you were comfortable with, because sometimes, and it depends on his age, right? But sometimes, like, my husband told me this, so this is coming from another man. Sometimes a guy doesn't know if you would even take time to have dinner with him, or you would only take him for coffee, right? So it will always be a dinner for me, right? Like me, you're gonna have to feed me. If you're gonna take any of my time, I'm gonna have to enjoy a meal. I'm gonna have to like actually enjoy the date. Coffee and a walk is not gonna do it for me. But again, this is not necessarily an insult. It's just him trying to see like, what would you be willing to do? Are you willing to take only 10 minutes with him? Or are you willing to give him a full date? And yeah, so that's not necessarily an insult. It's just kind of testing the waters. D Nice, new to your channel, just subscribe. Definitely my vibe. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'd love more freestyling tips. Yeah. Though I mean it really is like going outside is really it. Like if you look beautiful, like you have to look beautiful. You definitely have to look beautiful. And you have to, so like if you're doing anything, just stop by the restaurant. Just stop by where you're at, the restaurant there, because I'm telling you, you got to run your errands and do everything in like nice wealthier neighborhoods, and you just go to the restaurant and you sit at the bar. That is going to get you so much attention because you're beautiful. You're like, in my last live, I think 2 lives ago, where I was running errands with you guys, and I ended up taking you into the grocery store with me, and we were just chatting and stuff. And then the guy, I didn't even know where the guy came from. The French guy, I don't even know where he came from. And he just started like talking to me about my groceries. And next thing you know, he's asking me if I have a passport and would I want to go to France and Cannes, because he's from south of France, and started talking about all this stuff and tried to get me to like continue talking to him after. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm a housewife. And he's like, you have kids. Like, it was just like, I'm just in my own energy. I'm doing my own thing. Like, I do live in a nice neighborhood. So a lot of the people obviously I'm going to meet are going to be a little more wealthier. But that's how like simple it is, because I didn't look the best. Like my hair was pulled back and a ponytail, my outfit was nice or whatever, but like I wasn't like completely like, oh my God, I'm really, really trying, but I looked good enough and I was just doing my thing. And I was actually gonna go to the bar and sit and have dinner, because my husband wasn't coming home in time for dinner, so I was just gonna go eat by myself, and I ended up just going to the grocery store instead and making dinner. And a guy was trying, like literally was chatting me up in the video, like you guys saw if you were on that live. And it's just that simple. Like, and all you do, like, literally is be beautiful, be outside, be friendly, smile, and you people will start coming out. The like, men are that simple. It doesn't take that much time. And usually, like I always say, like if you can say the simplest things, if you're in a restaurant, I mean, if you're in a grocery store or something like that, and you see a guy that you could be interested in, he's smiling at you, you can just say, oh, like, act like you need something, even if you don't even really need it, right? You could just be like, can I borrow your height? I need that up there. And then he's going to say, oh, yeah, sure. Like, let me get that for you. Like, that's kind of how guys are. They're just kind of like, they'll be helpful to you. If they like you, they're going to talk to you, and they're going to see, like, hey, can I get to know you a little longer? There has been so many times, like my sister, she is so good at this. She will literally just be out doing her thing, like just at a bar and stuff like that, and a guy will like try to talk to her, and she'll be talking to the guy. He'll be taking her dinner that night. He's trying to get her to go shopping. He's trying to do, because it's just literally, she's just in her energy, and she's like smiling and just having a good time, and that's what attracts people to her. So I think it's important to just kind of be like that, especially when you're outside, where you're not like walking around with your head down, or you're not smiling at people, you're not looking happy. Like sometimes you're not, but that's just like sometimes, but like all the time you need to be like, if you're single and you want to date, you need to be smiling, available, hi, you don't need to approach anybody. Please do not shoot your shot. I'll say that again. Do not shoot your shot ever. That is not when I tell you, ask people, is someone sitting here? If I tell you, can I borrow your height? Do you know what this is? Do you know that is asking questions? That is not shooting your shot. Do not shoot your shot. If a guy is interested, he has no problem asking you out. Like me, I'm a married woman and they still try me. So you don't need to do it at all. Do not shoot your shot. I don't care what they say the times is where women do that. Do not do that. Do not join those dating apps who make women shoot their shot. Don't do that. Like, do not shoot your shot. It's not worth it. It makes you seem, it degrades you. To me, it makes you seem like you're just thirsty. Like it puts you in the masculine position where you're so invested in trying to get this guy to like you. Don't shoot your shot. But yeah, I have more. By the by the way, the guy appeared super wealthy online. Forgot to mention. Yeah, girl, he's just trying to see like what were you willing to, what kind of time you were trying to give him. So I would definitely say, yeah, we can do dinner. Like that would have been my response. I mean, if another guy does that to you, just choose dinner. If a guy ever tries to offer you coffee, you just say, oh, I don't drink coffee. And or you can say, oh, coffee would be boring. Like I'm not really interested in coffee. And then usually they'll say dinner. Like most men will try to take you to dinner. Like that's just a given. Like especially once they're older and stuff like that, they know they have to feed you. Like honestly, like people make it seem like, oh my god, like I'm not going to spend all this money on dinner for a woman and stuff like that. Then he doesn't have any money. Like honestly, dinner is not that expensive. I buy dinner for my friends all the time. It's I mean, it's expensive, but like if I want to have time to spend with my friends and family and stuff, like I'll pay for dinner. It's not that big of a deal. So a man, he's usually going to pay for dinner. Like I've had maybe all of the men I've dated not only pay for my dinner, they paid for my friends and family's dinners. Like I was dating a guy and it was my friend's birthday and he paid for the whole entire dinner for the whole birthday because he was the only guy there. And I didn't ask him to do it. He just did it himself. He was like, yeah, I'll pay for the dinner, and he paid for the club. So men, yeah. If the guy wants to really take you to coffee, he doesn't have enough money. Or getting wealthy yourself. I mean, yeah, you can obviously get wealthy yourself, but it's not about you getting wealthy as a woman. It's about a guy getting wealthy because that is what he needs to do as a man. A man does not, okay, women and men are different, right? We do different things. Men are protectors and providers. And the reason why we call them protectors and providers is because on the physical plane, they have the body mass to be protectors, right? They can protect you physically, and providing because most of the time of the month, most of the time, like we have a monthly cycle, we're consistently fluctuating in our hormones, so we're not currently always in the same energy levels, and we're not able to always do the same things to be able to provide the same way as men have to provide. We also deal with a lot of internal things, a lot of spiritual things that men do not have, right? So a lot of these things is things that we as women have to do, and men, since they don't have those same things that they have to do, the things that they do have to do is be able to provide and protect in the physical while we deal with the internal and spiritual world. That is the reason why it's important that that man can do that, because like we have seen so many years now, since this has been popularized, that women have worked themselves to sickness because a lot of women don't realize that you can't work like a man. Like my husband, he was telling me the other day, he was like, I love working. Like he has a ball working. Like he will work 16 hours. He owns his own business. He's an attorney, so he's like always working. He's like getting it, making money. Like he loves working. That's his thing. Me, on the other hand, I don't even have the energy like he does every single day to go hit working like that, right? I take breaks. I need my own space and time and energy. Like my emotions are up and down throughout the month. So obviously we have different things going on with this. Also, because, and I don't even care to say this, but it is true, because the way the patriarchy is set up, men have hoarded most of the resources, most of the money. So men do have most of the money. So we want to make sure that we connect ourselves with someone who is responsible financially, but also, since they do make more money and since they have more money, we want to make sure that we're able to match up with them so we too can have some money. So the whole idea that, oh, you can just become wealthy yourself, okay, to what cost? Because the most wealthiest women, one of, like, most of the wealthier women, they make their money through marriage, right? Through divorce. They actually make a lot more money when they marry a wealthier guy, and then they become wealthy themselves. And women, usually when they become wealthy, they actually know how to keep their money and keep it growing, and they help a lot more people. So technically, yes, you can become wealthy yourself, but that doesn't stop a man having to be wealthy of anything. That's the only thing he brings, is his protection and his provision. So we need that too. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I prefer dinner. Yeah, all day, all day. Like, we're having dinner. I don't even do lunch. Like, I don't do lunch because I want to dress up. I want to look good. I want to go to a nice place. I love the guy to plan because it makes me feel like he's into me and wanting to impress me, and that I'm not just any woman. I'll consider what you said though. Yeah, I definitely get that, but like, again, we don't know. It matters. Okay, what's gonna really tell you if he's into you and if he likes you, if he's willing to do things for you. Dinner is not doing something for you. Is he willing to give you some money? If you tell him something happened to you and he's actually willing to help, is he going to get you a gift? Is he going to actually, show up in a real way? Planning a date, okay, but you will see more if he does more physical things for you. Every single guy that I've dated and for real, like, had a relationship with, they, from the beginning to maybe a week into dating, they've got me something. They've given me something, whether it was money, whether it was a gift, whether it was flowers, whether it was something. They always gave me something. And to show me, like, hey, I really like you. Like, I'm really interested in you. Planning the date, yeah, I'm interested in you, want to go out. But again, what if he has a really busy schedule? And what if he doesn't know what you're interested in going? So that's the difference, right? So what you're looking for is like affirmation from the guy, but you can see that more on like what he's willing to invest in you, what he's willing to give you. So if you go on a date, does he bring you flowers? Then he's like, okay, this guy is interested. If he didn't buy you flowers, when they come around and they try to give you a flower, like sell him a flower, does he try to buy you the flower? Or does he, hear that you're saying, oh, I really like this, and then the next day he has a gift for you? Or if you tell him, hey, I need this, something happened to me, something like that, to my car, does he offer to help you with that? That's what you're gonna actually see, like, if he really likes you. Planning the date, men plan the date, and that doesn't mean anything. But actually, like, real investments, real gifts, real signs of affirmation that he likes you, that's gonna be more beneficial to you. So just keep that in mind, like, when you're, because I understand what you're saying and I understand what you're looking for, but you want to look for things that are more, more tangible than just planning a date. You want to make sure that they're actually going to add something to your life, and that's how you show real investment. Like, my husband from the beginning was investing. Like I told you guys, I told him anytime we talked about something and I told him, oh, I never did that before. Oh, okay. Next thing you know, you want to go to I'm like, okay. Oh, I never did this before. Like, okay, you want to do this? Like, from the whole courting period, like, he's taking me to trips, like, from the beginning. Like I told you guys, 2 weeks in, he was taking me to San Francisco. We went to San Diego. He was taking me to all the baseball things, baseball states and baseball stadiums in California, because, like I said, he loves baseball, but also he was taking me shopping and taking me on a trip, like, to enjoy the city as well. And we went to Miami, we went to Mexico, we went to Vegas. He was like investing. And still to this day, but he was just kind of that person where he was like, whatever you want to do, like, we can do it. Like, no, like whatever you want to do, we'll do it, right? And so that's kind of like what you kind of want to see with a guy is like, oh, you like that? Okay, let's go do that. And that's going to show you more. That's a better way of figuring it out is when you do go on the date with a guy that you're actually saying what you want and seeing what he does with that. Because these guys, if they're listening, they're taking notes and they're gonna say, okay, let's go do that. This one girl, she was telling me that um the guy seen where she lived, and she lives near the water, and he saw like there was boats and stuff, like she lives near the marina, and he was like, let's go for a private boat ride, like let's go do that, like that would be great or whatever. And they went on a nice private little boat ride, and they had a beautiful day, and it was just really like, he was like, oh, you live over here, like this is what you do, okay, let's go do that. That's how like wealthier men think. They just want to do like what you would like to do, what you would have fun doing. And usually if he's easygoing, he's going to be like, oh, let's do that. And yeah, so that's all. He could, like I said, he could have been like a doctor or something in surgery. Who knows why he couldn't plan a date, but it don't matter. But I get what you mean. All right. Okay, I think I'm gonna get out of here because I've been here for over 2 hours and it's been fun. I mean, honestly, a lot of fun talking with you ladies and the new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. Um, I really appreciate it. I'm just trying to show. Yeah, all you guys who subscribe and like the video, left comments, was chatting. Like this is honestly a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much. Thank you. Hey Carmen, thank you. And Dior 44. Make sure you get some Dior, girl. Tell him that's what you like. You're young. You want all the stuff. Like, speak up and get what you want. That's the thing. When you're in your 20s, especially when you're 24, even when you're in your 30s, because like I'm in my 30s, I'm in my early 30s, and a lot of the times, like, you think 30 is old, and then next thing you know, like, you meet a guy and he's like, girl, you're still young, you're young. And it's like, oh yeah, like my husband, he thinks I'm young, he's like, you're young. And whatever you want, you could say anything, like, oh my god, I really love this, and it's like, that's $5,000. It's like, yeah. Like my husband, he doesn't know, like I can tell him this is the thing, this is how much it costs. He would not blink an eye to think like, are you sure that's how much it costs? He's like, oh, okay, that's how much it costs. Like we'll go into like Saks or something like that, and I'm like, oh, I want this shirt or this dress or whatever like that, and it's like $200 or something, and he's like, okay, whatever, not knowing like there's a Zara over there that same thing costs $40. But it's not like him, it's just like, that's the price, whatever, like whatever you want, like it's fine. Because that's the thing, what we were talking about earlier, like the difference with flamboyant men and masculine men don't know the cost of things for women. They just know like it's expensive, and they're like, okay, whatever you want. So when you're young and you're in your 20s, use that to your advantage. Ask for what you want. Yes, girl. Right? Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna get out of here, ladies. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm probably gonna come back some other time this week. So we'll see. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.